What's up, everybody? Rob Ferretti here, Super Speeders Podcast. We got Glen from Glen's Car Collection, and this is Podcast 59, if you're keeping track. Now, we've also got Jimbo, but he's not really on a microphone. He sort of chirps in.
We keep him behind the scenes, right?
He's behind the scenes, but he's here. So we just tried not to say anything that makes him speak, but if we do, that will be Jimbo from Jimbo's channel chiming in. Jimbo, chime in now.
How you doing?
Thanks. Glen, welcome back.
Thanks, Rob.
We've got a couple of things to talk about today. Number one that I want to start with is Battle of the Robs. We've got Rob Dahm, who broke his own rotary record in the half mile at 180.8. Let's say 181. Let's round up. He was at 177. He put the car into hiding for 7 months after our Vegas thing and fixed it up, cleaned it up, did a bunch of stuff to it, and squeezed another 4 miles an hour, which is no small feat because 4 miles an hour in a half mile, it's not like you can like shift another 100 RPM and squeeze another 4 miles an hour. So it is saying something. But, yeah, it's a record for rotaries in the half.
And where did that take place, Rob?
It's an excellent question. It was at a half-mile event.
Okay.
So thanks for asking, Glen.
I figured that.
Yeah, but ultimately, like, and then some people have come on and said, like, well, that's not really a record. There's rotaries that do essentially 175 in the quarter. So clearly, let's not get into that. We can only go into whether or not other people are on the playground. Rob is the one that has essentially stated that I have now created the record that I would like to set, and that's somebody else's job to go beat that record. And then they can claim it. But again, I don't ever want to be in the record chasing game because it gets expensive. And you know who wins? The guy who dumps more money than the other guy every time.
Yep.
And that sucks. It gets expensive and it's no fun. But I'm sure if, and you know what? I'll even give it to them. I think Boosted Boys has the fastest minivan in the half mile. Maybe BC Moto, but I'll give it to one of the two. But they're up there in the top two fastest minivans in the half mile. Maybe they have the fastest manual transmission minivan in the half mile. Everybody's good at, and this is why I never really recognized records, because everybody's good at making a record that they can actually like, fastest stock bottom end
right.
NA C5. I'm like, all right, well, like when you have to preface it with like a couple different like adjectives, like that's getting really specific now. Like fastest, stick shift, non-turbo, street tire. It's like, guys,
with race seats or
do you really like
seats?
where do you want me to mail the trophy? Like if you really care that much, I'll get you one of those big ones with a car on the top. You can put it in your room. I'm going to apologize for that beeping. I don't know what it is, but the house keeps beeping. So
We think it's a smoke detector, but we've pulled every wire out, or Rob has, and it's still
if
beeping.
it's carbon monoxide, you guys will not
We're
be
screwed.
seeing this podcast. We'll just be sleeping. But yeah, and in fast news, John Hennessy cranked up the Demon a little bit. And the Demon has a bunch of horsepower to begin with. The Demon has how much horsepower, Glenn?
What does the Demon have? It's
808?
Yeah, something like
Does
that.
that sound right?
It's pushing 900, I believe.
I don't think it's pushing 9, but it's definitely like 800 something. And Hennessy cranked it up to, I think it's like 1,020.
Oh, wow.
Well, I don't want to watch a video. I just want to see what he did. But he squeezed a 9.1 at 152. And let me just say, it's the same lane that I prepped for him with my Camaro. Because I laid
808
down.
is the horsepower for the Demon. That's what
808
you said,
is
right?
the factor. That's
Yeah.
what I said. But I was doing some nice burnouts, and I think I really laid enough rubber to give that Demon the edge. It didn't even really need more horsepower with all that additional grip that I provided by prepping that lane last month while I was down there. You don't see powerful things like that hit the drag strip. But yeah, that's a feat. It's cool. The mile an hour didn't go crazy. It's at 152, which is a nice mile an hour. But it's funny, even with I think it was a 1.5, 160 foot, which isn't like blistering. It's not like a 1.2. didn't lift the front wheels. They had 56 cameras on the car.
Oh, wow.
And like that's the whole thing. It's like, oh, the front wheels are going to come
even
off
with
the ground.
Small skinny tires.
Skinny tires in the front, and the front wheels did not come up. So I was a little disappointed by that. But you can't be disappointed by a 9.1 at 152.
Wow.
That's fast.
Had the drag
Thanks,
radials. Had the drag
Wow.
radials in the back. That is fast.
It is. It just, to me, that's what that car does, and that's it was built for that. It is the Dodge dumpster with wheels. It is designed to run the quarter mile and no more. Mike Musto from House of Muscle just got his Demon. He's doing a series called Demon Diaries.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to be seeing him when I'm out in Napa in a couple of weeks, but that's cool. Like I can't say it's not it's a burnout machine. Like there's a lot of pluses to it. It's just like it's like a comfortable 9-second car that you can run. But I think a lot of people, when they bring them to the drag strip, are running 10s. Just because it does take that.
Just to get the power down?
Just to get the power down. I'd like to see it more in an all-around capacity, but like with Garrett's car, with Cletus's car, I was surprised how well that did all around, given the fact that it was really a drag car. But just swapping a set of tires, it did fairly well.
Right. Yeah, my friend got a Demon. I got to check it out. But, yeah, I mean, that's what it was built to do, right? Fast in a straight line.
Yeah, it did. That's the only reason it was built, was fast in a straight line.
Right. Yeah, I haven't driven the Demon. I've driven the Hellcat wide body. But that must be some car be able to drive like that. Now, you could get, Rob, 700 horsepower in a 2018 Mustang. For how much you think that would cost you?
$39,995.
Yeah, I saw the same story. Yes.
I didn't see the story. I just remember there was a dealer in Texas that
there's
did
a dealer,
this.
right. So it's a Roush part. It's a little misleading for $39,995 because you get, I guess, the $5,000 Roush supercharger, and then it's a blank canvas for everything else. So I doubt any cars are actually leaving there for $40,000.
I would just do that. I mean, but $40,000 for how much horsepower?
700.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, so 35,000 is would be for a stock Mustang, which gives you like what, 400 horsepower, 420.
Yeah, I mean,
in that range.
and if they're able to pull this off with the stock bottom ends, which stock bottom ends in the last, I don't know, let's call it the last 5 or 6 years, have been holding a lot more power than I'm used to with when I was in the game with stock bottom ends. You had a Supra. And that made cars desirable. That's one of the hallmarks of the Supra, is that a stock bottom end was usually able to hold about 800 or 850.
Right.
But remember, that's a car now that's 25 years old, 23 years, whatever it is, mid-90s.
And your Supra had how many horsepower in it?
930 to the wheels,
wow.
which is fast. I'd like to line my Supra up against Dom's car in a half mile or some event. And then, of course, you can set the record as to, are we going to just be the first one down to the end of the track? Are we all about trap speed? But it would be fun to run. I mean, my Supra did 213 in the mile, but you have to remember how fast you're moving at the half, that second half of the mile goes by real quick.
Right. So how would you compare it to the Demon, say, your Supra?
I mean, mine is cooler.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as what would the time be? Is it a 9-second car?
Oh, with 930 wheel, I don't know. Supras don't launch as hard. I mean, you really have to set it up for drag racing.
Right.
Mine is not set up for drag racing at all, so it'd be tough to try. I'd get a nice solid mile an hour out of it, but I don't know if I'd be able to get that 60 foot, even like a 1.5. But I mean, you're talking like crazy tire play and suspension that I'd have to put into it to get those deep numbers. And I even think a lot of the big horsepower Supras, with the exception of maybe the Titan, run automatics just to lay it down.
Now, how much power could you put in an automatic Supra? Are you limited?
There's no real limit.
Same as the manual transmission. They could both.
But they put the. I mean, I'm thinking of the wrong. I'm thinking Astroglide, but it's not Astroglide. That's something else. What do you call it? Power Glide transmissions.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the limit is. I've been out of that quarter mile game for a long time. I did it 20 times when I was younger, but I never really got into it. It was a lot of sitting around for a lot of not really driving so much. That's what pushed me into the road racing game. You at least get like, even if you go out and run one session for a half hour, it's like, wow, that was good. You're at a drag strip all day and you're driving your car for like at speed 64 seconds. Or
right.
something
Well,
like
same
that.
thing like with an autocross, right? If you do a track day, say you get 4 20-minute or 30-minute sessions, right? In autocross, you may drive a total of 3 minutes.
But an autocross is like closer. It's convenient.
Yeah.
You could drive in and drive out.
Less wear and tear on your car, and it's
well, you could do it in parking lots and there's lots of parking lots all over versus doing it at a racetrack, which may be 3, 6. I mean, you talk about Watkins Glen is 6 hours from here.
Yep.
New York
you
Safety
can make it
track.
in 4. Watkins Glen, I used to do.
Yeah, but I mean, all of these places are. I trailer
Right.
because like God forbid you drive your car up there and you brake at the track.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to get? You're going to have a sequence of tows or something to get it back here. It's just going to be a nightmare versus just trailering it up.
With my C4 Corvette, Watkins Glen, I was fine driving up there, but I gave my race tires to somebody to trailer up. But once I had a failure at Nazareth, that's an oval track, Nazareth, Pennsylvania, and it literally took like a whole day to get towed home. I blew my power steering and just all the fluid leaked out and everything. Luckily, it didn't catch fire. And it was like on a Saturday, and out there, at least back then, they had to go get the tow truck driver. He had to go get the tow truck. He had to pick me up. He had to stop for lunch, gas. Sure. It took, that little missed adventure there. It took me about 8 hours to get home.
Nice.
No, it wasn't nice, Rob.
No, I mean, it's a story. At least you have a story out of it.
Speaking of track cars, remember in 2015, the Chevy made the Camaro Z28, which is essentially a track car,
in
right?
What year?
For the street. 2015.
Okay.
Z28, right? What do you think a Z28, because you're good at prices, what do you think a 2015 Z28 would sell? So it's a used car with about 2,000 miles on it at a dealership, no less. What do you think that car would sell for? Now,
how many miles?
2,000. Brand new, that car was like 78 grand, which was overpriced. And
I would say it's probably
they got killed in depreciation.
high 30s now.
You're very good at $39.95.
Yeah.
Now that's a misleading article too, because you could find them. You could probably find 100 of them in the 40s. So I think one dealer priced it just under 40. It's a lot of car if you're looking for, say, a $40,000 track car. But that car is really hardcore for the street. There's no air conditioning, though. I think you can.
Yeah, my Corvette's pretty hardcore for the street too.
Yeah. Well, this car would run, and you have a warranty.
It would have a warranty, but not for much longer.
No. So
and now
actually no, because Chevy's only 3 years, right? So
yeah, 3. Yeah. Now these cars here, these like track focus cars, do they warranty it if you take it on a track? Because I know like Lamborghini will, but you have to like go get it inspected before and after your track day, and then they'll continue the warranty. A lot of people just wouldn't say anything,
right?
But they will honor a warranty with track use if you get it inspected post track.
Oh, you do. I remember years ago when you bought a, say, WRX, you got a free membership to SCCA, but you could void the warranty if you did any track days with it. So
True.
Like, why do you get a free membership with it? I mean, if it's track related, if it's track related, I can certainly see voiding the warranty. But if your your directional doesn't work or something that has nothing to do with the track day you just did. But the Z28, I think, when it first came out, just like any other car, it was the hot car and it was selling over sticker. But I think a lot of, the 60-year-old white man bought it, and it was probably hardcore for most people. And there was a million used ones that were like 45 grand, even a year ago.
Sure.
And now they're going to drop into the 30s. I mean, it'd be a great track car, but it's pretty hardcore for the street. So
nice. Yeah, I'm up in the air as far as I even with the Scuderias and there is a extent at which you take a car and you track it out to be cooler, and it's not as good as the street version. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. If you're buying it for the track, that's one thing, but then just go get a cup car. Get a challenge car, get a cup car, get an actual track car with a roll cage.
Right.
But a lot of people are buying these like track cars to drive on the street, and you get a subpar driving experience. Like my ACR. Like the regular Viper was better than my ACR. The ACR looked cooler, but it wasn't very fun or friendly on the street, which ultimately made me sell it.
Right.
So, I mean, it is be careful what you wish for. And a lot of people, like, you're just buying it to tell people how fast it is around a racetrack.
Right.
But you're never going to set foot on the racetrack.
It becomes a cars and coffee car. Now, have you driven the fifth gen Viper? I haven't driven one of those yet.
I have been in one with Matt Farah. He had a press car, but I never drove it. I didn't really want to.
You didn't really want to? They're going up in value now that they canceled the Viper. The prices are really rising on them. For a while,
the older ones or the
all
just
of them,
the Gen
actually,
5s.
all of them, like even the 92s.
I think
without air conditioning, but the Gen 5s are going up too.
I think a lot of the Gen 5s were sort of sopped up by a couple of big money dealers to try to control the inventory.
Oh yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see what happens long term.
Right.
But I don't know if that ultimately is real, or just because the few buyers out there all have to go through these guys that are controlling all the demands.
Yeah, I mean,
all the inventory.
Exactly. But they were slow sellers to begin with, and they had reduced the price, like $15,000 for each model. But they're not ruling out that the Viper won't come back at some point, so they can make a 6th gen. And supposedly the rumor is if it does come back, it'll be more like the Corvette to increase sales. It won't be as hardcore. Though the 5th gen Viper was a little softer compared to the old Vipers.
If they had a paddle shift option, if they had traction control, I mean, all of those things would make the Viper much more livable.
Yeah. And
I think it would make it, it would help sales. Like, there's a lot of people that don't drive stick.
Right.
Ferrari and Lamborghini stopped making.
I would hate to see that.
Yeah, but I'm not saying all of them. You can make
Right.
an option, though.
Yeah.
I don't see why a car has to be manual. Like if the Corvettes had to be manual, Porsches had to be manual, then you wouldn't be selling so many.
Exactly. We had talked in previous podcasts, I think 73% of Corvettes were automatic.
Yeah, and there's other statistics, like Ferrari and Lamborghini stopped even making manuals only because nobody was ordering them anymore.
Right.
And they're like, look, why? Like now all of a sudden everybody wants manuals. Where were you when we were selling them?
Yeah, exactly.
And ultimately you run right into the problem of, like, now everybody wants them because they're rare, but it's not necessarily a better experience. It's not, the demand is sort of, is a fad more so than anything. It's you just want, that restaurant that nobody went to is going out of business, and all of a sudden gets busy
Everybody
for the
wants to
last
go there.
week.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, I think the manuals, like Ferraris, are being sopped up by, people collecting them. So they're not, I don't know that they're necessarily buying them to drive them because the prices are going so crazy.
I would like a 360, I think, maybe better in manual, just because the 360 transmission with the clutch isn't the best clutch. I mean, it's livable.
It's a single clutch.
Yeah, but it's livable, but it's not. You get 20,000 miles out of it, which isn't great. In a manual car, I mean, it's a fun metal gearbox. When I say metal gearbox, metal gated shifter, so you can clank your way through it, and it's just
20,000 miles is for the F1 transmission you're talking about, or the stick
for an
shift?
F1, yeah.
Right.
Stick shift, you get 40, 50,000, but most people don't go through the clutches like that.
Right.
So, I mean, I would say that car is better in stick.
Yep.
430, it's questionable whether it's better in stick or paddle shift, but ultimately you don't have those problems that you would have with a paddle shift car.
Right.
You don't have the clutch slippage. You don't have you'll still have a throw-up bearing issue, but the E-Gear, the entire E-Gear F1 systems and the Gallardos and 430s and 360s are prone to issues, and they're expensive to repair that. So you would be able to avoid all of that.
Now, Gotham, you had some pretty high mileage F430s because I had rented them from you. They were like 50,000 miles, right?
50,000 wasn't terrible.
Now, with those cars, they have high mileage on them, but were they more reliable because they were driven?
I wouldn't say more reliable. The reliability was pretty consistent on them, though. Roughly $1 a mile as far as maintenance went.
So if somebody was buying, say, a used F430, and let's just use F1 transmissions to keep it even, would somebody buys a 10,000 mile one or 50,000 mile one is the same? Is it still about?
It's harder to sell the 50,000 mile one,
Right.
so you have to reflect that in the purchase.
Well, it would be.
But-
Say it's a lot cheaper because it's got 50,000 miles instead of 10.
Yeah.
Are the running costs similar?
No, running costs will be the same.
Yeah.
The F430 has the chain drive
Right.
instead of the belt drive, so
Yeah.
they don't require majors. But
Well, they don't need engine out service, right? There'd probably still be majors.
No,
but they're-
even the 360 you can do the service without taking the engine out. But ultimately, I didn't see the problem with the 360 either. I don't think the major service. I think it's more of a myth than anything. It was just to keep the service centers busy.
what was that? The 3 years?
The 3 year or
15,000 miles?
3 years or 15,000 mile service. Now they're like, well, your timing belt may snap and then your engine goes. And I'm like, look, you're Ferrari. You race F1. If you can't make a
Right.
timing belt by now, that like a Honda Civic timing belt will go 300,000 miles. You're
Yep.
telling me you can't put a timing belt on that car that lasts more than 15,000 miles? 15,000 miles, Jesus Christ. Or if you don't drive it, 3 years or 15,000 miles, that's ridiculous. So I always said that the major services on those cars were sort of a joke and they weren't required. But most people are like, well, I don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
So
Have you known any timing belts to fail? If it was,
you read about them from time to time, but like there's failures in Honda Civic engines too that you can read about on the internet. That doesn't mean it's prone to failure.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's like the GT3 motors when they came out, where they were literally catching fire.
The 991. Yeah, 0.1 GT3. And so like even when I was shopping NSXs, my first NSX I bought in 2012 was a 95, right, a first gen. And I was looking at 95s. They were, 17, 18-year-olds at the time?
Yep.
And the car I bought was on its third timing belt, or it had two, and I put the third one on. But I was looking at cars that were 18 years old. They had the original timing belt.
Yeah.
And whether they had 100,000 miles or 30,000 miles, obviously, weather or storing it outside, those kind of things will play be a factor in it, of course. But, a lot of people.
Yeah,
are
I
like
never,
7 years or
I
10
didn't do
years.
the swap. I know people do the water pump and like all sorts of stuff.
Well, I think
on the
that's
NSX.
like while you're in there, while
Yeah.
the timing belt's out, you might as well do the water pump.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming up on 100,000 miles on that car, so
Yeah.
it's coming due for some form of service.
Right.
But
Yeah, even my '05 NSX, I would have bought it anyway, but it was already on its second timing belt. So I said, all right, well, that's
Sure.
pretty good. It's
Yeah.
an '05 on its second timing belt. So, yeah, but I always wondered, like the F430s, how much you would probably spend on maintenance. Now, the 458 is supposed to be a lot less maintenance, right? And I think certified pre-owned from Ferrari, you can even get like a 10-year warranty from when the car was new. So if you bought like a 2010, you can have a warranty going out to 2020.
you can, and it's not cheap. And the reason they do that, obviously, is because those cars don't really break. So
Right.
the what they're selling you is something. What they're selling you is something that they're going to be making money off of, and they're not going to need to put a lot of service into most of the cars.
Right.
So
Because I had looked in a 458 maybe a year or two ago, and certified pre-owned from a Ferrari dealer was probably like 30 grand more than buying it private, but then you would get that warranty in it.
Sure.
So there's essentially that 10-year warranty was wrapped into that price.
yeah, I know they any edge that they can have in this
Right.
resale
Yeah. Well, would you buy one out of warranty, or you think you need a warranty on those cars?
on what, a 458,
Yeah.
488? No, you can buy them on a warranty.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got. I posted up on my Facebook for questions, and let's see what we got here. We got. Did we ever find Elizabeth?
I haven't.
She's not dead, and I haven't heard from her since January, so several months. But apparently, she's ghosted a lot of people. Funny rental stories. There's always a bunch of those on the YouTube. I don't really have anything that comes to mind.
Well,
as
did you
one
ever
that I
rent a
must
car
tell.
to somebody you're like, I'm positive this person is going to wreck this car because they're just such a bad driver or don't understand?
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see the customer facing end a lot. Like, I wasn't the one delivering the cars, so it wasn't really like I could predict, or the people I did try to predict, like, oh, prom rental, clearly, like, your grandma's not renting the car, this guy's gonna wreck it.
Yeah.
But they never necessarily always came true. How did Tommy and I become friends? That was pretty easy. The audience started yelling that I didn't invite Tommy to my October Project Car Shootout. So then I made sure that he was invited to the, and we started just talking from there. He's like, oh, ignore my people. They don't like speak for me. Like, it's cool. So and he was close. So we got together once or twice. And I invited him down to the October one. He came out, and then we were friends since then. But casual. What do you think the future of Ford will look like? Fewer cars, but healthy. I think the company has they didn't even, I think, need the bailout money in '09. They took it because they had to. But I think Ford.
I don't think they did take it, right? I think they just took
I think
like
they had
a
to.
line of credit or something.
Yeah,
like
maybe,
That. Yeah,
but
they didn't
yeah.
actually take the bailout money.
Yeah.
But they're still going to have the Mustang. I mean, for enthusiasts, that's what we care about.
Mustang, and then what, the Raptor?
Some kind of
that
no,
trucks.
that's the truck, but some kind of like Focus that's sold in Europe or something like
Okay.
that. But I mean, do we really care if we're losing the Fusion?
Yeah. Why Doug DeMuro is the new YouTube car king. He just sprung up. He had whatchamacallit behind him. He had the Auto Trader. So part of YouTube now is having somebody to amplify your reach, then creates the illusion to YouTube that everybody wants to see this, and the algorithm picks it up and then spams it around to everybody. So having a giant platform, it allows these giant companies with these big social media followings to take off. Doug was the recipient, or he was on the beneficiary side of that, and he did very well. He does make entertaining stuff, but his videos have changed significantly over the last year and a half. But he's a good dude, so I wish him nothing but good things. How lame is it that you can't buy anything with 3 pedals and stick anymore? All paddles now. It's not really that way. I mean, there are stick shift cars out there.
An M3,
yeah,
Mustang,
there
Camaro,
are
Corvette.
stick shift cars out there.
Maybe not an exotic car.
$800 Camaro versus brand new 2002 Camaro. It's not
What year was your
2002.
$500 Camaro? What year was
It was
that?
in '94, but
Oh.
I don't know why.
Well, 02 was the last year for that gen.
Yeah, but I don't know where the 02. Oh, whatever.
93 to 02.
Are you bringing the dog? Is what Alyssa just asked me, because I have to bring her my dog potentially tonight. Electric cars, the future. How will it ruin the? I don't think electric cars are going to ruin the car industry. I just think most pedestrian cars should be electric. I don't see, like, if they can get the range and they operate cheaper and cleaner, I don't see why there's an issue. But there's other stuff that should be electric first. Cruise ships, airplanes. I mean, all the stuff that really spews shit
or how
out.
about buses? Those
Yeah,
diesel
buses, like
going into the Holland Tunnel.
Yeah, like, I mean, you're talking one bus creates the
800 cars. One
Yeah.
of those diesel buses.
Is it
going
really
into
that
the
much
city
now?
is 800 cars. Yeah. So they regulate the 800 cars for emissions, right?
Yeah.
But what about the diesel bus that's spewing black smoke?
Correct, and even then, you have the bus moves 50 people,
Right.
But it's pumping out as much as 800 cars, so that doesn't really work. Is the house done yet? No, unfortunately.
Just turn the camera around if they want to see.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, the house is. I'll put a video update on that this week. Ultimate daily driver by price range. That's like a whole video.
I'll say for $100,000, I'd say the new M5 because you can drive that in rear
I'd say a
drive and all-wheel
Range
drive.
Rover. If money's no object, the Range
All
Rover.
right, well, let's pick different cars. So that's what you'd pick. That's what I pick. What about like 140,000?
140,000. That's an excellent question.
I would take the money no object. I don't care about depreciation or anything else. I'd take the new Panamera 4S. That's what I would take. I drove one that was 140,000. That's why.
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, there's a bunch of different price ranges, and I'm sure people care about the $20,000, $40,000 price
Let's do
range.
it. That's a good time.
All right, we'll come back to that. I want to take a break in a second. I got to go to the potty and do our commercial break.
We'll cut it. Jimbo will slice it together. Nobody will know.
Yeah, there you go. Let me just finish these couple of questions we have. The time I made porn. You're gonna have to get that tape from your mom, my friend. But unfortunately, it's not as long as I was hoping it would have been. The how to grow
That's
the
what she
perfect
said.
lawn. Sure. But actually, like if you put fertilizer and stuff down and you tend to your lawn and you
have it
aerate
right
your lawn.
outside, right outside.
No, I mean look at the ideal lawns are effectively golf courses.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the aeration schedule, water injection, the type of soil, the type of grass they use, there are ways to do it.
You need sprinklers. Sprinklers is a good way.
How American muscles are in a bubble. Are they in a bubble? I don't know. Correlate the value with the aging demographics of how people are overpaying for old shitbox muscles. Well, the reason people are overpaying for old shitbox muscle cars right now is because they're getting old and they're buying those cars from their childhood that they always wanted. But when they die off, those cars are going to flood the market because everyone's going to inherit them and just sell them because they're not going to want it after the first couple of years of it leaking on the floor.
Right. Or who wants a Duesenberg 10 years from now?
Yeah,
when that
exactly. Well, I
generation
mean, I don't
dies
even
out?
think anyone really wants them now.
Well, people
It's
are
just
still
the
buying.
uber rich people that is like,
Yeah.
oh, Muffy.
But is
Buffy.
our generation going to want to buy that? No.
Yeah, the museums will sop them up. Do I like fried chicken? I do like fried chicken. Trump coming to town. What are your thoughts? Same as Santa Claus. I don't know. He comes to town, he goes. It doesn't impact me as long as he doesn't screw up traffic. And why haven't you bought a Gen 5 Viper ACR yet? I'm not really interested after my ownership of the Gen 4 Viper ACR. Greatest sounding road car of all time. Greatest manual transmission. We'll come back to that in a second. I'm going to take a break. We'll hit the little commercial spots right now so we can thank our sponsors for making this all possible. And we'll be back in a minute. So if you guys are aware, Mother's Day is coming up, May 13th. And 1-800-Flowers has an offer for you because you listen and watch me. Now, if you go to 1-800-Flowers.com/SSR for Super Speeders Rob, 1-800-Flowers.com/SSR. I'm saying it twice so you get it. They have an offer of 24 multicolored roses for $24. Now, it's good. It's easy. All you have to do with 1-800-Flowers to get a nice fresh set of flowers shipped to your mom, girlfriend, wife and girlfriend, co-worker, whatever you want. All women love flowers, and it's easy as a guy to forget to ship them, and then you end up having to go to the store, and the local store either sells you crap at the gas station or you overpay on flowers. So check out 1-800-Flowers.com today /SuperspeedersRob, which is /SSR, and they will take care of you. You just set it and forget it. The flowers will show up on their door. They'll get nice, fresh 24 roses for $24. Can't go wrong with that. So there's things I do every day. One of those things is putting underwear on. Now, Sheath Underwear helps cover my ass, especially in these podcasts, by sponsoring us. And now they can take care of your ass too. Now, Sheath Underwear is a premium underwear. It's not your dad's tidy whities. It's not your old pair of boxers that you got in high school that you should have thrown away 5 years ago that you still wear. It's good premium underwear. Their thing is that you can put your balls and your shaft into a little pouch in the front. Makes you look huge. Huger. I mean, it's all you, but it looks good. But it also keeps your balls from rubbing against your legs or sweating. And that skin to skin, it's not a good thing. You don't really want it. And it's a good, comfortable underwear. It looks good. It feels good. And it's functional, and it makes your sack not sweat. So that's something to check out. You can check out their website, sheathunderwear.com. You can enter promo code SPEED. That'll save you 25% off your first order. And I promise, once you get Sheath Underwear, you're going to be ordering more and more pairs. So I'd probably get at least 3 to start, because you're not going to want to wear the same pair every 7 days or wash them every other day. It gets a little awkward with underwear. So, man, it's not a pair of jeans. You can't just get away with wearing the same pair of jeans 4 days in a row. Underwear, you can't do that, no matter how much you like them. So check out sheathunderwear.com, and you can use the promo code SPEED and save yourself 25%. I guarantee once you start wearing them, you're not going to wear anything else. I don't. So there's things you never want to do in the car world. You never want to not buy a car because you're afraid of the maintenance costs, and you also don't want to be fearful when you buy a car of driving it because you don't want to break it. Two of those things, it ruins the ownership experience. So how do you fix that? Well, there's a company called eAuto Warranty, and eAuto Warranty will sell you a warranty. You pay monthly just like you would for your car insurance, and it relieves the stress and anxiety of having a big maintenance repair. And that's something, I mean, they cover the smaller stuff too, but obviously that doesn't keep you up at night. The stuff that you're concerned about is a pilot bearing failure or something that everyone talks about as a possibility. And you're like, ooh, I don't want to have to pay for a transmission rebuild on that. Well, eAuto Warranty will cover it. So check it out. You can go to eAutowarranty.com. You can enter your car in. You can get a free online quote, or you can enter a car you're interested in, or like, oh, you know, one of those Maseratis I've always liked. See what it would cost. It may make sense to you. It may not, but it will allow you, if you do go ahead with it, to sleep easy at night. I'm telling you, the proof is in the pudding here. I had a warranty that I was paying for 4 months, and they covered that means they made $300 off me, and they paid for a $2,400 repair. So it's good. It's nice to have. It's good to have in your back pocket if you ever need it. You don't have to renew it after the first year. You can just do it on a yearly basis. But I'm telling you, once you have it, you're going to love it. And especially when you get your money's worth out of that repair, you're going to be happy you made that choice. So check them out, eAutowarranty.com. You can get a free quote for your vehicle or one that you're interested in purchasing. All right, and we're back. So thank you to those guys. Now, we left off on the greatest sounding road car of all time, which I'm going to have to give to a Pagani Zonda.
Good choice.
Do you have any disagreement there?
Nope.
Yeah, that's
maybe Carrera GT.
Carrera GT's up there too, but I think the Zonda has it. The Zonda is just an amazing sounding V12. The Carrera GT's an 8, right?
10.
10, yeah. So the and
But
even
normally aspirated.
I mean, in the top 5, you got to give it to the Carrera GT, the Zonda, the LFA has a magical
LFA sounds
exhaust
really
note.
good. How about a Lamborghini V12 Murcielago?
Not so much. I would probably go for like, if we had to pick a Lamborghini that sounded good, probably a Diablo 6.0. They sounded pretty good, but they just like you feel those engines working. Like it's pretty wild. What else do we have? It's tough to beat the sound of a V12 Lambo. And most of the 12s, we're going to the big engines are the ones that sound pretty cool.
Right. I mean, for smaller engines, I'd say GT3. Normally
GT3, and naturally
flat
aspirated
six.
flats, the Metzger engine.
Yeah.
And then if we had to pick a V8, it's got to be a Corvette of some sort, no?
I like how the M3 sounds. The
Or the
E92 M3.
The GT350 doesn't
Oh,
sound
the
too
Mustang
bad. Yeah.
Shelby. Yeah, I would give it to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Stock
That'll
for
take-
stock.
That'll take the
Yeah.
V8 category.
Like an M3 V8 sounds great. Like say if you put straight pipes. Actually, I have an RS4 review coming up next week with essentially a muffler delete. It's probably the best sounding
Nice.
car I ever heard for a realistic, affordable car.
What about the greatest manual transmission road car of all time?
Just based on the
Nice.
shifter.
Yeah, I guess nice.
Well, I would say the
gearboxes.
S2000 is the best shifter in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
I
You
don't
haven't
think
owned-
I've driven it to the point
I'll
where
have to let you drive mine.
I do like the gated shifters on the Ferraris just for the novelty of it. Even the Lambo gated shifter is nice. I'll always remember the 03 Murcielago 6-speed I drove. Then I'd have to go to the GT3, wonderful transmission.
Yeah, NSX has a good trans.
NSX
stock,
has
yeah.
a nice transmission as well.
Any
Porsches,
Porsche,
yeah.
Cayman, Boxster,
BMWs
911.
have very smooth transmissions. But the best of all time, I don't know if you can pick a best.
I'm sticking with S2000.
The S2000,
Yeah.
all right. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you on that. But the best that I've driven is probably a GT3.
Yeah, any Porsche manual transmission is great. Anywhere
Yeah.
from the Boxster, the Cayenne to GT3, 911 Turbo.
Nice, yeah. So that's the fan questions, the user questions, fan questions. I just wanted to make sure we hit them because they asked for it. Might as well answer them.
They're good questions.
They were good questions. It's usually like, what do you think of the spaghetti comments? Did you see the video I just did on the NSXs?
Yes, that was really good. Who did the rolling shots? Those were nice.
Jimbo did the rolling
Nice,
shots.
very nice. But how'd you have that? You had a car in front video?
Yeah, he was in a van and he popped the doors open in the back.
Really? They looked really good.
Yeah, they were
looked
nice
really
rolling
good.
shots. I
Yeah.
think he rested it on and he didn't even use a gimbal or anything. So
Nice.
I was happy by that. Like, it's funny. I thought that was a good video, and a well done video as far as going through the differences between the old NSX and the new
Yeah.
NSX. And
So
why.
I commented on your video. 97 was the NE2s when they
I
went to
thought
the
it was
3.2.
96.
97.
Okay.
95 and 96 are identical. 97 is the NE2s with the 3.2.
So 95, 96 still a 3-liter, and they came with a target top.
Right. So those are the heaviest NSXs if you care about weight. 91 and 94, no power steering, fixed roofs. 95, 96, power steering, target tops, still the 3.0, 270. They went to a 6-speed manual with the 3.2 in 97, 97 to 05.
Yep.
But if you got an automatic transmission in the 97, it was still a 3.0. Only the sticks got the 3.2.
Yeah, the NA1s were all stick, or they came in automatic as
You
well?
can get automatic.
You could.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, and then
Very few automatics. So it's the opposite of the Corvette. Like if you look at all the numbers for NSXs, and there were
Yeah.
8,900 made, 80% of them, 90% of them were sticks.
It's weird. Those guys are getting lucky because like the automatic NSX, the automatic Super, they're really not worth very much
Yeah.
compared to the stick shift variants.
Yeah.
But you get these like low mile cars, and these collectors are like, well, that's got to be worth something.
Not if it's
Like,
automatic.
and it's just like they don't get it. So they're buying it just because they think they're getting a steal, but they
Yeah,
just don't
cheap
know
for a
that
reason.
the automatics aren't.
Yeah, I
carrying
drove
the premiums.
I drove an automatic NA2, but it still had the 3-liter. I think it's a 4-speed automatic, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Worst automatic transmission I ever
How about the
drove.
400i?
a Ferrari?
Yeah.
I've never driven one.
That's the
I
worst.
said the worst that I've ever
That
driven.
you've ever driven. Okay, yeah. The 400i is the worst Ferrari ever made, if I were going to guess.
Yeah. And probably the cheapest Ferrari or one of
What
the
do they
cheapest.
cost now?
I don't know.
I'm going to look that up.
19, I'd say.
Really?
I'm guessing. It's got to be horrible. Because that was a
No,
coupe, too. The
even-
I was a coupe, right?
Yeah. No, they make convertibles as well, but I think they made convertibles. The even like the 308s and these other like not so good cars are starting to sell for like real money.
I think it's stick-shift Ferrari. Yeah, the 328s are getting up to six figures now.
It's ridiculous. So 400i. There's only one on eBay, and the bidding is already at 26,000.
Oh, wow. How many miles?
Let's see.
Could be low miles because who would drive that?
Yeah. 20,000 miles on a 1982 400i. Early 80s were not a good time for cars.
No.
Other than like a Testarossa.
Or 911 turbos. Those are probably the only two good cars in the 80s.
Yeah. 959 was a pretty, it's a desirable car.
Yeah, I mean, that's an exotic, though.
True. Hypercar? Would that be considered a hypercar?
For then, it was. That's a 4-second to 60 car, I think, and the first all-wheel drive. And most of that stuff, most of those components wound up in the 993 turbos.
Wow, this thing is just an awful Ferrari.
What color is it? Gray, black?
It's gray.
Yeah.
And the guy's got a nice garage.
Yeah. That's probably a pristine example.
I just can't. Like, how do you do a write-up on this? That's why I can't work at a dealer. This gorgeous collectible, it's a piece of shit. Nobody wants it.
Oh,
But
you want to hear something funny? That just reminded me, not to change the subject. Somebody just traded in their mint 66 Mustang convertible, I guess for their wife because they want a new car, for an Audi S5 Sportback. Would you make that? Would you make that trade? I'm surprised the dealer gave him any kind of money. So let's just say an Audi S5 Sportback is 60 grand or 70 grand fully loaded.
Okay.
I seriously doubt, even if your classic Mustang convertible is worth that, the dealer's going to offer you like 25. But supposedly somebody made that trade, and people were all over social media saying, what's going to happen 5 years from now, when you're divorced and that Audi's worth $5,000 and leaking oil.
maybe that's why he got it. Yeah.
But would you do that? Would you trade? Would you? So let's do this. Would you trade your NSX or your Supra for a brand new whatever?
Probably not. Depends on the car.
Yeah. So that's kind of like
I'm a practical guy, so I'll trade horses if it's the right horse.
Let's do that. Say you trade your Supra for a brand new, fully loaded Range Rover Autobiography.
No.
Okay.
No, of course not.
So that's kind of.
But like a new not a new NSX, but like a new GT3, I would.
You trade your Supra for a new GT3? Well, they're both sports cars, so one's classic, one's modern, but
but like
that connection's a little.
I don't
better.
I don't see that losing as much value. Would I trade it for a Maybach? No, probably not.
Yeah,
because that car's going to be worth.
You wouldn't trade it for like a new S Class; it would depreciate.
No,
like
exactly.
a rock, right?
But the S Classes are nice. Like a used S Class is a great buy-in car.
Now, would you trade your Supra? Just assume it's the same price for this argument for a new NSX. A new NSX.
Yes, and then I'd rent out the new NSX.
Then you'd rent it out.
I'd put it in like a rental fleet just to get money out of it. But then I'd get a decent value for my Supra, which I'd be okay with. Mm-hmm. I'd get a new NSX, which I don't believe are really moving in value so much. I think they're going to hold pretty steady where they are. So.
What do you think they're going to hold steady for the short run if they only sold 5? We talked about last podcast. They sold 5 last month,
I
right?
think that's what that was my video. That's what it was about. I think that they're good for like the 125, 130 price range. I think they're going to hover there for quite some time. That's a good car.
It's a great car for that price. And again, I think you got to look at that car as a daily driver. Well, you just drove it again, right? So I've driven it once.
I didn't drive it again, but
okay.
I've driven it. But everybody likes to be like, oh, yeah, look, this thing's already depreciated. I'll buy it when it's down to $5,000. And I'm like, it's not going to get down. Like with the R8s and everything like that. You have to buy when the buy-in is right. Yep. You can't buy when like, oh, it's already depreciated that much. You have to sort of be a little bit more cognizant about what the value is to that car.
Right.
If it's a crappy car, like it's going to fall apart. It's going to cost a lot to maintain. That's one thing. But if it's a good car and it just depreciated heavily, then it's time to buy it.
Yeah. The R8s that are cheaper, the automatic ones. I mean, the stick shift R8s are still 70s, 80s. I think I saw a stick shift, which is a lot of miles for an R8, 65,000 miles for sale in the
Seems a lot.
60s with a stick. That's probably the highest mileage I've seen on an R8. It's a V8, not a V10, but
Yeah, I would get the V10 in the R8, to be honest with you. Oh, look at
they're
that.
higher values. They're over 100 V10s in stick if you want a stick shift.
There's a 98 Supra here on eBay. 6-speed blue RSP, which has 10,000 miles on it. And the bidding is at 114,000.
Wow.
So, and it's got aftermarket wheels. And it's got an aftermarket exhaust, so it's not stock.
Right.
It's got bolt-ons at the very least. So, it may be time to get mine listed, just because it's hard to.
You'll get more. It's Rob Ferretti's Supra.
Yeah, and it's I mean, this thing's got HKS exhaust, coilovers.
How does it look? I can't.
Why
see
would
the
you put
picture.
like if you have a car? That's what I don't get. Why would you put an exhaust and coilovers on a car that is like 9,000 miles? You're not driving it. Why
Right.
modify it? Like, I understand if like you're gonna drive it around, or like if one of the owners like, oh, I'm gonna buy it and drive it, put 5 of the 8,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You see that a lot. Like I remember seeing when the Z06 just came out, the new one, the C7, whatever, 600 horsepower. Somebody at one of the car shows, an older guy, retired guy, he made it like 900 horsepower, but he made it undrivable, and then like he literally couldn't drive it anymore. It didn't have enough horsepower from the factory that you had to do all that to your new car that you can't drive now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that people don't realize, especially with these, with the Supras, like, oh, I don't want a modified car. A stock Supra sucks. Like, it's the whole point of the Supra is that it could take a lot of horsepower.
Right.
So now to say, like, I want a stock one, well, that's not why it's a popular car. Like, you don't understand. Like, a Ferrari is not popular to modify. And if you modify it, it goes down in value. But to put mods on, like, an 03 Cobra, nobody wants a freaking stock 03 Cobra. That's not why they bought them. The RX-7s, the Cobras, the Supras. I mean, those cars were all bought because they were super modified, or they were able to handle mods well. And
Right.
even like the R34 GTRs and the GTRs coming in stock form, they're not really that great,
Yep.
but people like them, or all these VR4s, because they can handle power.
Right.
And it's funny how modified GTRs don't seem to be affected, or people don't seem to be making such a big deal about modifications as they are with the Supra. Oh, well, if it was stock, turn it back to stock. It's $5,000 to turn it back to stock. I'm not going to waste my money doing it.
Yeah.
But if you think you're going to take the $5,000 off and then whatever, like, it's just weird the way, like, people want modified or they want stock, or it's really
Yeah, I guess
interesting.
if you're really a purist and want to collect it and for it to appreciate in value, you probably want the car in its stock form. But, what made those cars popular, it was a great platform that, like you said, that could add power.
And that's the whole thing. It saves money when modifying because you
Right.
don't have to rebuild the entire car.
Yep.
The transmissions are pretty bulletproof.
Right.
It comes in stick. It's got decent gearing. It looks cool, and then it can handle a boatload of power. That's
Yep.
what made it that's what made the Super popular. But the RX-7 doesn't really have that because, yeah, it can hold a lot of power, but then it blows up, and that
Right.
turns a lot of people off.
Yeah.
That they don't want a car that blows up.
Yeah, I love that RX-7. One day I have to get one.
They're out there.
I know.
So
Maybe Tommy will hook me up.
Tommy's got the right-hand drive, but I'm sure I mean, look, if you really want one, they're not hard to get.
No. But I don't know enough about it to know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you can get a good clean one in $25,000. They'll get you
Yeah,
one
well,
all
they're
day
going
long.
up. Low mileage ones, and again, they probably won't be reliable. But there's people are selling. I don't know that they're getting it. They're asking 50, 60,000 now for low mileage RX-7s.
Yeah, I mean, they can ask what they want, but I
Right.
don't know if they're really selling at that.
Yeah. Well, I went to look at one last summer. Some guy was selling two, and he said 100% stock. I opened the hood. There wasn't one thing stock in that car. And he's like, well, maybe you could put it back to stock. Well, the reason I looked at it was supposed to be stock.
Yeah.
I figure start with a stock one and then put the reliability mods on it. So this way, I knew who did it, make
Sure.
sure it was reliable, than buying somebody else's problem.
Nice. What else you got?
Speaking of wheels, we were talking about that Subaru with wheels.
Yep.
For your Roadster, I saw your video.
Oh,
when
yeah,
you
that
did
was
road-
good.
I think you need aftermarket wheels for that
Nope.
Roadster. And
Just
when you
spent
do,
money to fix those.
When you do, I want your stock wheels because
No.
I need stock wheels for my clown shoe for my M Coupe.
Got it. How much do those wheels cost?
They're pretty cheap. You know why? Because they came on all the M Roadsters, and there's a lot of M Roadsters, and there's no difference between S52 and S54, so they're like less than $1,000.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I fixed them.
Like
for less
NSX
than-
wheels are really expensive because
Yep.
they only came on the NSX in those years, say 02 to 05. And
Yeah, but the earlier years, like the late '90s wheels, are cheap as shit.
right.
The
When
what are
had
they
the
16, 17?
in
Yeah.
the beginning, yeah. But even my 95, the wheels were worth probably about $1,000, and then on the 02 to 05, they're probably at least $3,000.
$3,000. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know.
But there's thousands of M Roadsters, so those wheels are actually pretty cheap.
It's funny. I was gonna look up a car that we were talking about before, but I can't even remember what it was. I was going to eBay, and be like, yeah. Actually, you know what? Oh, whoa. 2002 to 2005, 17-inch factory original rear wheel for an NSX, $2,200 for one rim.
One wheel, wow.
Yeah. Let's see if they have NSX OEM. Yeah, I mean they're getting a little crazy for anyone to spend that sort of money. But you can get the OEM, the early rims, the 15, 16s on the NA ones, $385 with tires for a set.
Well, there were a
That's
lot
cheaper
of
than
those
buying
cars,
tires.
remember?
Yep.
So they made 8,900 NSXs. They sold 5,600 in 91.
Got it. So
they
my
sold
numbers
60%
were
of the cars in 91.
sure. Let me just sort these by price. I'm just curious. Price highest. Yeah, they don't. Only the new wheels they have available. They don't really have any of the old NSX wheels. The ones that I'm thinking of, the 02 to 05 wheels. They don't have any used sets for sale right now.
Wow. Yeah, mine came, luckily my 05 came with two sets of wheels, Comtech wheels, which I sold, and then the OEM
Oh yeah, I've
wheels.
got my HREs I can sell. I haven't even sold those yet. Completely
Oh,
forgot
for the
about that.
NSX.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got real nice Fikes wheels for my M Coupe. We should do a
Fixies?
trade. I'll give you those. You give me your OEMs.
I call them fixies.
Fixies. Fikesies. There's everybody pronounced it differently. German wheels.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of the stock wheels. That's why I spent the I think I bought them for $3,200. Then I had to spend another $500 to refinish them.
You're talking about the NSX now.
Yeah.
I was talking M Coupe. Yeah.
Oh, got it. No, I'm gonna stick with the M wheels, the factory wheels. I stick to factory stuff now. It's just easier. And like aftermarket, I see like Jimbo fell in love with this set of aftermarket wheels in the Porsche that we saw this past weekend, and I just was not feeling it. But it's so subjective with the wheels. It's like it's really your personal taste, and I realize the aftermarket wheels, you break one, then they're discontinued, then
right,
you have
exactly.
a useless
That's
set of wheels.
That's the worst part of it. Yep.
So, and then like if it's an aftermarket wheel, like no insurance company wants to write a check for it. There's just a bunch of reasons not to get aftermarket wheels.
Yeah, and I think for your insurance too, for your car insurance, if you have aftermarket, like I didn't even insure my aftermarket wheels on the M Coupe because for what it would cost to insure them, I'll just buy a set of OEM wheels if I break something.
They make a lot of aftermarket wheels for Corvettes, for NSXs. But they're all like the first. I mean, I'm on like page 8 of my eBay search.
Don't get cheap wheels. We used to have at the autocross a lot of people would get like literally crack the wheels doing an autocross.
Nice.
Because they bought cheap eBay wheels.
Yeah.
So you get,
you
get what you pay for wheels.
I've warned to stay away from the cheap eBay, especially wheels. I mean, wheels are so important because they keep you attached to the ground.
Yep, and unsprung weight too. So cheap wheels could be heavy wheels.
Yep. So what else you got, Glenn?
What else we got? You like chocolate, Rob?
I do like chocolate.
If there was chocolate all over the highway, would you eat it?
Is it processed chocolate?
I don't know. It looks like chocolate milk to me, actually.
No, I probably wouldn't drink chocolate milk off the ground. But if there was like a legitimate like Reese's spill on the highway, I would definitely go eat a bunch of Reese's peanut butter cups.
Well, out in so would I. In Poland, a tanker truck full of liquid chocolate spilled and covered all over the highway. It actually looks pretty cool if you Google it.
Liquid chocolate, huh? Why do they transport liquid chocolate?
I don't know. And they actually closed the highway too. I would probably want to drive through that.
Surfing the Hershey Highway, I hear.
Well, that has a couple different meanings. But
Yes,
regarding what we're
I'm
talking
aware of
about
that.
here, maybe. Also, what would you do, Rob, if you ordered, say you ordered a new Porsche and it didn't, you put, 25% down, something like that, and didn't come with all the options you specified, or let's just say a Ferrari, since you buy Ferraris. What would you do? What would be like a good?
I'd just have them swap the options.
You want to drive your other Ferrari through the front glass of the dealership?
No, I probably will not do that. That does not sound like a rational
Well, someone
response.
someone in Taiwan ordered a new Porsche Panamera Gran Turismo, Sport Turismo. That's the
Okay.
one that has like the fastback.
Sure.
And he spent like, I guess in their currency, like 200 grand on this or something like that. And it didn't have all the options that he ordered. And he was so upset that he drove his Cayenne through the dealership's front door. And if you Google the video, it's pretty crazy, him driving right through the front
Yeah,
of the dealership.
crazy is the right word
Yeah.
there, because that's a pretty crazy thing to do. I don't know why people would do such a thing.
So don't try this at home, kids.
No, that's pretty asinine. It's ignorant, I guess, is the way of putting it.
Yep, somebody needs anger management.
Yeah, just like, who cares? It's just like to have them replace it, have them fix it. But just to go like, I'm gonna ram my car through the front door is pretty cray.
Right. I'm sure they can do a trade with another dealership for a fully loaded one, right?
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think the Carrera GT is a hypercar, a supercar? What would you consider it?
Well, hypercar and supercar to me is like a really fast car, right?
I mean,
So
the
that
Carrera
would be
GT
like
is
a
no
P1.
slouch.
Yeah, no, but it's not gonna be as fast as those cars. It's a manual transmission. It's a V10. It's not a P1 or a LaFerrari.
Sure.
I would take one. I would take one over those cars, to be honest, because I'd rather have the stick shift and a motor. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's an exotic car. I don't know that's a hypercar.
Okay. Yeah, no,
I
I'm
think a
curious.
hypercar is something that's like 2 seconds to 60.
I feel like that's one of the few like hyper or like supercars that I'd be able to afford at some point.
I think they're going to keep going up. I
No,
think
they've sort of come down a little bit.
I
That's
still
why.
think with Paul Walker especially attached to it, I think that's going to be $1 million car one day.
He's not attached to it. They scraped him off of it. Is that too soon? I don't
Yeah,
think it's too
too
soon.
soon.
No.
But I mean, I think when that car is 30 years old, that'll be $1 million car.
Sure. Interesting. It's funny. There's some Supras for sale right here, and the automatic ones sell for nothing.
How many stick shift? They didn't make that many stick shift turbos, right? Do you know roughly the production?
I mean,
number on
I've got the production count somewhere, but I don't know the exact answer. I'm just looking. Turbo, clean leather. It's so like automatic. Yep. They never like want to list the transmission
Yeah.
in the car. It's like you have to dig through it. They don't post photos of the interior that show the
It's
transmission.
just like a Ferrari, though, too. Like if you Google, if you wanted to see how many F430s are with manual transmissions, half the car, 90% of the cars listed have F1 when you look at the picture. The dealer will put manual in the ad. But, if there's 30 cars come up, probably 2 of them really have manual transmissions. The other 28
no,
have
well, yeah,
autos. Yeah.
I've seen that. This is a 100,000-mile red Supra. It says manual. It's got a manual. Cool. So this is a reasonable priced car.
Is it a turbo, though?
But it is a turbo. It's a 108,000 miles on it for $53,000. That's the only one that I see that's like pretty reasonable. And this would be the closest to my car. Oh, look at that. 12,500 miles. Black, 6-speed, 98. Oh, where did it go? They're asking $100,000. Let's see what they have done to. Oh yeah, they got a bunch of. They got the sound system. They got everything done to that car. But again, it's like I think they should get it. I mean that's all about the right. It's a stock body. But again, I don't know. It all depends. It's the right buyer, the right ass for the seat. Luckily, all of the kids my age and people my age now, late 30s, early 40s. So the people that grew up liking the Supras are now coming upon their money, and they're like, I've always wanted one of those. I'm going to get one. So I would be okay with literally anything. I don't even care if my Supra's got 80,000 miles on it. I just want one that I can buy and drive and and not really worry about too much. The one I have, I'd feel like a dick driving because it's got such low miles.
Was it 19,000, right?
Yeah, it's got 19,000, but even this guy's got 12,000 on the 98 black. Is it a Targa though?
Yours is a coupe, right?
No, mine's a
Oh, it is
Targa.
Targa?
This is also a Targa. But the 6-speed hardtop, the black 6-speed hardtop. This is like essentially my car. What this guy has, it's a 90. He's got a little less miles than I do, but he's got fully modified. Cars skyrocket. But again, also you don't know $75,000 in mods, stock block and crankshaft, Carrillo H beams, J pistons. Yeah, there's a lot done to it. But again, Supras should not be devalued because of mods. That's what they're known for. But anyway, I'm going to go back and listen to my own podcast so I can jog up my memory as to what I was going to eBay to look up prices on. Because I was like, ooh, let me go buy one of those. And then I forgot to look it up.
What do you want for your Supra? Somebody listening to this podcast wants to buy Rob's Supra. What?
I would take $100,000.
Reasonable.
I think it'll sell for 125 or more, but I would legitimately take I would take 100,000 because like it is what it is, and as when somebody's like, wow, that's really greedy, or you're really making money, I'm probably 70 grand into it. So it's not, and I've been sitting on it forever, so it's not really like like I'm making out like a bandit. And then I would just go out and buy another one. I'd go buy one of those, like that 50,000 mile one with all the miles on it. And then just modify that. So I'll be out the door at 60. I put 40 back into another car, maybe a Porsche Turbo or something.
Mm-hmm. Good choice.
So, yeah. So I think we've covered enough today.
Good talk, Rob.
It was a good talk. We'll get some people lined up here. We'll get some interesting people on the podcast over the coming months. Good changes coming up. Glen's actually shopping for another warehouse space for me. So in the next, let's say 60 days, you'll see a bunch of changes coming from this camp. But stay tuned. There's a lot to see. I want to thank Sheath Underwear. Those guys are awesome, as always. E-Auto Warranty, again, also they're definitely worth checking out. And Glen's Car Collection for coming out. Glen, thanks for
having me. And Jimbo's channel as well. So if you haven't checked them out, check them out and make sure you subscribe to the podcast on the podcast channel on YouTube. So it's Super Speeders Podcast, or you could check out the podcast on iTunes or Shout Engine. So we've got them all for you. Thank you guys and girls for watching and listening, and we will catch you next time. Podcast 59 in the books.